I am back with yet another workflow. It is probably my favorite workflow that I've built to date. It shows an insane level of personalization that I haven't seen in any other workflows or tools. Our client here was a company called Goldcast, and they are an events hosting platform. So while we were discussing ideas as to how we could help Goldcast get more leads and get more people hosting webinars on their platform, Jacob had the idea that what if we created a custom mock-up image for every one of our clients that would show them what hosting an event in Goldcast would look like for each one of them. So we have some imported data here. These are people that attended Goldcast events in the past. So as you can see here, we have the prospect's first name, last name, full name, their title, and their email. Because these are emails that people were using for an event, we decided to include catch-all, which all we had to do was to throw in that API key, and it ran the entire thing for us without using any credits on Clay's end. From there, we wanted to normalize their domain just to make sure that their domain was the same structure for every single one of the clients. And next, we wanted to make sure that Goldcast wasn't already working on these clients. We ran two checks, the account level Salesforce check and the contact level Salesforce check. What these allowed us to do was determine whether Goldcast wanted us to reach out to these clients or not. So you can see these two columns right here. This is their exclude from Clay attribute within Salesforce, and they have it both on the contact and the account level. If we have exclude from Clay here and it's yes, then we don't want to run our integrations. And all we said was check it if the email is valid or catch-all and the two exclusion variables don't equal yes. And what this allows us to do is save credits on running enrichments for contacts that we don't want to reach out to in the first place. Now we have to go ahead and start running some of our enrichments. The first thing that we wanted to do was ensure that the company that we're reaching out to runs webinars or in-person events. What I did for the prompting was I said, tell me if the company hosts webinars, digital summits, virtual events, or other online events of any kind. Search their website to look for any mention of online webinars or events. Usually these can be found under a resources page, an events page, or a webinars page. I only want events that the company is hosting themselves and only return yes if they do not host online events and no if they don't. So we did the exact same thing for in-person events. And what we were able to do with this checkbox is to say if the results here for the webinars Clayagent include yes, or the in-person events one include yes, then check the box. You can see here that both of these were yes, so the box is checked. But even if there's a no here and a yes here, the box is still checked. Next, what we did is we wanted to run enrichments on some of the people and the company involved if they met the requirements that we set beforehand. So if they cross the Salesforce check, if they're hosting events, if their email is valid, then we go on to the next step. So you can see that if we go into the column settings here, all we've done for the search query is their first name, their last name, and the company name that they work for. They had certain pieces of information within their enrichments that we needed for our personalization. So next, what we did after that was we enriched the company. We were able to find their LinkedIn profile link by just going into this person's information, going into their experience, and enriching for their company LinkedIn right here. Next, what we did, you can see here that we have a HTTP API integration. Is Clay's integration that allows you to connect to any API that is publicly available or even private ones if you wanted to create your own. So we needed the prospect's profile picture for this project, which was incredibly important to creating the personalized image. Profile pictures on LinkedIn aren't all the same file type. So what we did, we created an HTTPI integration that allows us to upload the profile picture from LinkedIn to AWS and normalize it. So we had a Zapier automation that essentially would upload anything that we sent to it to AWS, which allowed us to connect Clay to AWS via the proxy of Zapier. So how did we do this? First, we built the automation in Zapier. So what we can do now is a process called posting, which is essentially sending data to another location via an API. So the two main options in an API are getting, which is receiving information from an API, or posting it, which is sending it to another place. So after Zapier gave us an endpoint, which they do for any time you use a webhook, we were able to transfer this information to Zapier and then to AWS. So now you can see we have their image URL, distinct key that we've created for their profile picture, and the exact same thing for their logo. You can see right here that we have another HTTP API integration called color recognition. So what we've done is we found an API that identifies the primary and secondary color of any picture that you feed it, and it will find the hexadecimal code for the primary and secondary color of that image. Using our HTTP API, we are able to send the logo of the company to the color recognition API using this endpoint, and what pops out? The colors of the logo. If we want to create a mock-up of somebody doing a webinar, we need to have the main screen. In this case, it was the website screenshot. If we can find an API that takes a screenshot of the homepage of our prospect's website and pastes it onto our mock-up image, then that would create something pretty impressive. What we did is we just Googled up an API that takes a screenshot of any website that you want it to. And since we have the company website, all we had to do was send over the URL of the business over to this API tool. So you can see here that the endpoint is essentially just the domain for the API, and then the URL equals the domain of the company. And what you'll see here is that we were able to pull up a screenshot of this company's website. So what we did next was we used a service called Dynapictures. If you're doing something like this, I highly recommend you use this service. What it allows you to do is piece together custom images with dynamic variables in them. So as you can see here on their homepage, they have this template right here with texts, picture, and a button. And if you plug data into it, it can create something like this. So we had to use another Zapier automation to create this Goldcast mockup. So what we did was we used a Clay to Zapier to Dynapix automation. So you can see here in the body, we have used post to send data to the endpoint, and the information that we've sent over is the first logo color, the second logo color, the URL of the logo itself, a screenshot of their homepage, the profile picture of the prospect, the full name of the prospect, and the company that the prospect works for. So we have all of this information for each one of these rows that we're sending to Zapier, which is creating a Dynapic, and then the Dynapic is being sent back to our Clay table. So what we did was we created another table right here called the custom Goldcast image generation table. And what this allowed us to do was capture all of the incoming images from Zapier into one table. So now we have an image table that all it has is the name, the company, the image, and then a key that allows us to reference any of these rows. So here is an example of one of the images I just clicked on. We have the prospect's face that we got from LinkedIn. We have their company logo. We have a screenshot of their website, and we have the primary and secondary color of the company logo in the background. Here's another one for a company called Turing. We have the prospect, their name, the screenshot of the website, their logo, and the company logo colors. And we can do this for every single one of the prospects. We have thousands of these made. And so after these images are created, all we do is use a lookup from table, and we're able to output the image URL in a table right here. So now our Clay table has the entire flow used to create the image, as well as finally the custom image mockup. I really hope that you guys found this as cool as I do, and hopefully it gives you some inspiration for how to use APIs within Clay. A huge shout out to Jacob Tuwiner for collaborating with me on this project. We both run sales automation agencies of our own. Feel free to check us out if you want things built like this for you, and absolutely check out Clay and the rest of our videos because it is an incredible tool. Drop a like, subscribe if you are new, and hope to see you in the next one.